Welcome back. We're here to look ahead to Saturday afternoon's Premier League game between West Brom and Bournemouth. Might as well start with the Cherries. 2 wins in a week over Chelsea and United.
Absolutely incredible, hasn't it? No one saw that coming after the form they were in. No wins in 9 before these last 2 games. So to come up with these, and probably the 2, certainly before the season, they would have been looking at as 2 guaranteed, nailed-on defeats in that game. Probably the 2 most unlikely back-to-back victories they would have won all season, and they've done it. It's got to be the best week in the club's history. You think about them getting promoted, obviously big achievements, but the achievement of beating those 2 teams, 2 of the biggest teams in English football, 2 of the biggest teams in world football, back to back, it's an incredible achievement. And the one against Stamford Bridge, they deserved that one probably. Boruc was never really tested. That wasn't really true of the United game. Perhaps lucky to get away with the victory there. You think of Boruc, he made a fantastic double save to keep him in it and made a couple of other saves, but certainly don't think they deserved to lose that match. A draw probably would have been the fairest result. They took the lead very early on in fortuitous circumstances, I'd probably say. The corner going straight in, it didn't mean that. You'd have to say De Gea should have done better. I don't think a keeper should ever be beaten like that, but they got the early goal that obviously got Dean Court absolutely rocking. It was a fantastic atmosphere throughout there, and United hit straight back. I mentioned that Boruc double save straight after, kept them in the game really. I think it could have been a completely different game had United equalised straight away after that, but then Fellaini got that really scrappy goal. Quite how he managed to poke that one in. It was quite a good finish from him in the end, and he was one of the standout performers really for United, which says everything you need to know about how United really played. It wasn't that exciting, it wasn't that good, but Bournemouth were very much in the game still, and they got that winner through Josh King, straight from the training ground. Richie's low corner in, King putting it home against his former club to get the victory. So it was a really good performance, full of heart and desire and hunger, and they wanted it a lot more than United, you felt there, which in the end proved to be the difference. And to get those 2 victories, the position they're in, up to 14th now, massive and unexpected boost for their survival hopes.
Absolutely. I think you touched on King there. He's really impressed me this season for Bournemouth. He was a sort of bit part player at Blackburn before Bournemouth signed him. He was never a regular starter in the Championship for Blackburn, and now he's gone there, scoring goals for them. He was really dangerous against Chelsea the week before, and the only thing is that he did pick up a bit of an injury in that game. He could miss this one, which would be a huge blow for them if he's sat out, because he's done really well in the lone strikers role there. I mean, they might have Sylvain Distin and Mark Pugh back, and I mean, if Pugh comes back, he'll probably go into midfield, and then maybe Glenn Murray go up front. It'd be interesting to see what they do, but. And the thing is, Tommy Elphick as well, he was meant to be back, I think, around Christmas, but I saw his return's been pushed back to January, I think. So if he's not there, that's a blow for their defence, because that's where maybe they just need to improve. Because I thought against United, I really thought they could win. You looked at that United defence and the way Bournemouth have been playing in recent weeks. They'd like to get the ball forward. They haven't really shied away from attacking when they like to, and I thought they were really impressive there. And like you said, up to 14th in the table, they're top of the set team, sort of chasing West Brom here. They're 4 points behind West Brom, who are up in 13th, just a place above them. And the way they're going at the moment, I think they could certainly climb the table. But you look at the run they've got here. West Brom go to the Hawthorns here is a tough game, and then you look at their next 4 after that. I mean they've beaten Chelsea and Man United, so maybe they can beat anyone. But it is still a really tough run of fixtures. They've got Crystal Palace, who are 6th, Arsenal, who are 2nd, Leicester, who are 1st, West Ham, who are 8th in the next 4 games. So it's still all very tough fixtures, and if they can carry this sort of form and maybe get say 2-3 wins from those games, the fixtures will obviously then ease up a bit going into the new year. And I mean the way they're going at the moment, they look like they could stay up this year.
Yeah, you mentioned King missing potentially this match. I think Glenn Murray coming in is not too much of a downgrade. Murray obviously got the winner at Stamford Bridge, didn't he? And he should have scored against United. Missed 2 absolute sitters later. Well, one sitter in particular, and another very presentable chance. So he'll certainly be willing to be keen to take his chance after missing 2 really good ones to put the game to bed against Manchester United. And he should get chances against West Brom as well. It's a Pulis team. You don't usually consider them giving away cheap goals, but they have done, especially at home this season. They've got one of the worst defensive records at home this season, and obviously 2 more against Liverpool they gave away. The second one of which was very unfortunate in the dying seconds, 96th minute I think it was, Origi's deflected shot into the corner. Really hard for them to take there, but I don't think they could have too many complaints about not coming away with all 3 points there, because Liverpool, they had 28 shots compared to West Brom's 4, 8 of those on target compared to West Brom's 2. Liverpool 70% possession, 30% for West Brom. It wasn't a big surprise Pulis went there and played like that. He did what he thought might get a result, and in the end it did get a good point. It would have probably felt like a defeat the way it came so late for West Brom, but it is a decent point and makes them unbeaten in 4 against some pretty decent teams in the league as well. Last 3 all draws, so drop points in there, but it is a decent run of form considering the teams they've been up against, and they might even look back on it. And there was that disallowed goal from Olsen right on the stroke of half time, wasn't there, where it got disallowed about 30 seconds or something after it was originally given. So that was a very strange one. In the end, the right decision was made, you have to say that. So they can't really point back at that and say they were hard done by, but still, at the end of the day, a good draw for them.
Yeah, I think you look at like you're saying about their recent form. They've had a really tough run of fixtures. You look back the last sort of 6 games there. They lost to Leicester and Manchester United, and they've stayed unbeaten against Arsenal, who they beat, and then like you said, 3 straight draws against West Ham, Tottenham, and Liverpool, all sides in the top half. So like Bournemouth, they've played a similar sort of teams, and they've actually done quite well in those games. And I think the interesting thing about that Liverpool game was that he actually didn't make a substitution to the 94th minute, which was Ricky Lambert on for Rondon, which was obviously just maybe a time-wasting change in extra time. So he's obviously very, very happy with the team he put out there. Didn't feel he needed to make any changes. Berahino was an unused substitute. He's still, not come back into the team very settled at all. And I think in that game, but for that, really unlucky late deflection, you might have called it a really good away performance if they had hung on there, because just nicking 2 goals from set pieces like they did, and obviously the first one a bit lucky, Mignolet's mistake, but I think it was a decent away performance, and I think certainly he seems very, very happy with his team and the way they've played against those the difficult teams. Like I said, now they host Bournemouth, who I know they're below them in the table, but it's a tough game. But the fixtures do get a bit easy. Look at their next 3 fixtures: Bournemouth, Swansea, Newcastle. They do get a bit better.
Yeah, they certainly do. And having remained unbeaten against those 4 teams, they'll certainly fancy their chances of getting at least maybe 6-7 points from those 3 fixtures. As you mentioned, Bournemouth are in better form now. Newcastle themselves have strung back-to-back wins together. Swansea are in pretty poor form, but by then you'd expect them to have a new manager in, which might have given them a bit of impetus. So they're not the easiest game, not perhaps as easy as they look on paper when you look just at the league table at the moment, but the form they're in, the confidence they would have got from these recent games, they'll fancy their chance of getting some points in there. I think the big thing for Pulis that he needs to do now is focus on the home form, because as I mentioned earlier, you think of Pulis, you think solid at home, will get a number of points on the board, but they've only won 3 of their last 12 games at the Hawthorns, losing 6 of those as well, so that is an area they need to improve. But 13th in the table, with this form, with this run coming up, the immediate future looks fairly bright for West Brom, I think.
Yeah, I think they're still 6 points above the bottom 3. I think there's still a decent gap there, and if they beat Bournemouth here, that will obviously take them further away. Which way do you see it going?
Yeah, I see West Brom winning this one. Bournemouth, they've obviously 2 huge victories. I think they thrived on being the complete underdogs in both of them, though I don't think there would be as big underdogs in this match, so I can see West Brom winning this one 2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go, well, I think West Brom will score 2, but I fancy Bournemouth to actually get a point here. I think it'll finish 2-2, so got 1 West Brom win and a draw. Thanks for joining us.